Hi everybody, Mark here with Couch to Camino 2026. Today is day 227 till we leave. That's kind of going fast. If this is our weekly update, today we're going to be covering a little bit about the apps that I use for my long-term planning. I had something completely different planned for today, but I realized as I was talking about all the long-range planning stuff, I had this whole list of apps that I was using to kind of write stuff and get my personal schedule down. I was like, I should probably share these. So after I get done babbling at you here, I'm going to cut to a really tedious screen capture that I did. I tried to set up my camera so I could film my tablet. Did not work. Too much glare. I'm not a professional at this, so you get a really boring screen capture that I did on my phone. But it works okay. So after that, a little bit, we'll talk about what's coming up. I actually sat down like a semi-competent human and wrote a roadmap for our updates from now until end of March when we head for Spain. And we'll go through that a little bit. For this week, again, apps. The too long didn't listen is apps like, there's many Camino Pilgrim apps that are great. My favorite are from the guys at Wise Pilgrim. They have the most functionality and utility for me. Camino Ninja, Camino Wise, there's a bunch of them out there. They're all good. Just for me, the way I plan, the way my monkey junk works, Wise Pilgrim is the best. Trainline. Trainline is a fantastic way to book your trains, and your ticket just resides on your phone. Most of the time you don't have to print anything. Kayak, I use Kayak for searching for my flights. Just to get an idea of the generic schedule and the price that we're dealing with. You can get in there if you have an account and do price tracking. So it will alert you if you say, I want to fly from Philadelphia to Madrid in June, but I want to pay between $800 and $1,100. You could set that up and it will alert you when those prices hit, and then you can jump in and go to the airline or through your credit card, however you want to book that. I did that and saved a ton of money. I'm already booked for April of next year. Other things like Google Translate, WhatsApp. WhatsApp is hugely valuable. There's some functionality through the Wise Pilgrim app that I'll show you in the screen capture stuff. You can WhatsApp message with a translated message right through it. Fantastic way to go. Booking.com for a lot of different lodging options. Booking isn't just for your expensive, or not expensive, but your hotels, Casa Rurals, private rooms. You can also get, a lot of the big albergues now are going through Booking, and you can get a book a bunk bed or whatever you need through Booking, and for a couple bucks extra you can get a free cancellation. Your language apps, Duolingo, Babel, whatever you're into, not a bad idea to start that now so you got a little bit of Spanish under your belt. You don't need a whole lot of French. You're realistically only in France for a day if you stay overnight. I should say that France is awesome. Google Maps. Google Maps is a hugely powerful tool. I tend to use Google Maps for a lot of my stuff when I'm looking around towns instead of trying to do searches, just because it's more accurate. It's right there. I can get opening and closing times. I know where I'm at. I know where it is. So there's all that. So the TLDL, there's lots of apps out there. The biggest one that I think you're going to get utility from, well, the biggest two is Kayak for tracking those prices of your flights, and the Wise Pilgrim app. And if you watch the video, you see why the Wise Pilgrim app is so great and why it really changed the way my Caminos work. So there you go. As a reminder, if you have any questions, you can ask them down below and I'll get back to you. If not, send me an email at askmeacaminoquestion@gmail.com, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I'm trying to check those every day. I've gotten a few messages. It's kind of fun. So from now, I'm going to show you the apps I use. We're going to cut to the screen capture, and then we'll do that, and then I'll come back and punish you with even more of me yapping right after we get done. So, looking at the screen here, we're just going to go through and I'll show you a few of the apps that I'm using. So, over on the left-hand side, Duolingo, Babbel for your language stuff. Kind of everybody knows those. Currency. The currency converter is how I keep an eye on the euro. Sometimes that can help you decide when is the best time to purchase your flights and such. The euro to dollar, it affects it a little bit, not a huge amount. It's just kind of worth taking a look at, and it'll help you in your budgeting. Right now we're, 15% off. Not great, not terrible. It's been better, but we'll see what happens. So backing out of that, we go to Translate, Google Translate. You're going to have Apple versions, I think, on the iOS, so whatever works for you. I do like that on my phone, at least, it's all integrated in where I can translate right from a screen I'm looking at. But this is super helpful. Before I actually leave, I will take this out and I'll load in a lot of stuff. So I just have kind of pat phrases that I can copy and paste when I'm dealing with reservations, things like that. So let's back out of that one. Coming down the middle, WhatsApp. That's going to be a really valuable communication tool. WhatsApp, I have found, going back and forth through Europe, their compression algorithm seems to be such that even places that I have very not great data service, it may be a little slow, but it still allows me to text, receive text, do all the things I need to do, usually in Wi-Fi. I find I can kind of get away with it on the regular networks. One up from that is, this is what I've mentioned before. This is a spreadsheet that my friend Fernando built, and I use it for all of my organizations. This gives me my days, my distance, hours. Now there's a difficulty column because I've done this so many times. I kind of have an idea of the difficulty. Just a little helpful for me. And the last column is my lodgings that I have already booked, but I'm not going to show you that because no. Up top, Claude, that's my AI agent. I actually have found it fairly useful. I asked it for a list of all street markets along the Camino de Santiago route from Leon west to Santiago, and it gave me a comprehensive list of cities, villages, towns, locations, days, hours of operation, and what you can expect for the street markets where you can pick up vegetables or fruit or cool little antiques or some trinkets and stuff. And from my experience, it is pretty darn close to correct. So worth looking into. Google Maps, I'm going to drag him back over to the middle. Obviously, Google Maps, take a look at what you're going to be doing day to day, or if you're trying to decide on a lodging option, Google Maps is a really good way to say, okay, this albergue, it says it's so many distance from the city center, but I don't know, pull up Google Maps. If that albergue is, in the middle of an industrial area, hey, maybe you don't want to stay there. Maybe you want to go somewhere that's got a little more of a pilgrim vibe. That can just kind of help you get the lay of the land. It's also great for while you're on the ground, and we'll talk about this in a segment coming up later, probably in the spring, about technology on the Camino. Google Maps is my go-to for finding anything. I don't use Google search. I just open the maps, pull it up. I can figure out the restaurant hours, pharmacy hours, whatever I need, market hours. I can figure it out from looking at Google Maps. It saves a whole lot of trying to paw around because, for people like me at least, the map is just easier to navigate. Over on the right-hand side here, we have Kayak. If it'll open for me. Kayak, you can enter in all your stuff, and the great thing about Kayak is you can do price watches. So you can say, hey, I'm looking at round trip here to Madrid in June of 2026. Pull it up, then you can watch those. There's going to be a slider I'm not going to get too deep into this because we'll do more of this when we're talking about transportation, how to get there kind of stuff a little bit later. So this just is a great way to track your flights. It alerted me, I've already got my flights for next April because it alerted me that the flight I wanted at the times I wanted with the layover time that I wanted, it came up very inexpensively, and I was able to go over to my credit card site, book through them, and get that price that it was right in my budget. In fact, I saved a couple. Sorry. That gives me a couple hundred extra bucks to mess around with while I'm there. We're going to back out of that. Booking.com. A lot of people really don't like Booking for some reason. If you look on the Camino forums, there are some people that hate Booking and really are not thrilled that people use it. You can kind of see that I've already been doing some searching here for some alternates to some of my preferred lodging. But Booking, more and more, you're able to find albergues. You can book bunk beds. It's not just hotels, casa rurals, posadas, all the private lodging. You can still book beds through book bunk beds through Booking here. So it's worth looking at starting to mess around with your lodging. If you're looking to go next in spring or summer of 2026, I'll tell you straight up, there's a couple of places that I usually like to stop, some little villages. They're already booked. I've reached out to the albergue owners. They're booked up. There may be some consolations. They've offered to email me back if there are. But getting some stuff booked now, especially in Saint-Jean, in Sarria, some of those more crowded places, not a bad idea to start looking. And you can find just about everything you need on Booking. You also can get really convenient and nice options. You can pay a tiny bit extra, but you get free cancellation. And by tiny bit, I mean a couple of bucks. For some of the private rooms I pay an extra $5 for the private room, but I can cancel and completely free of charge, no big deal, up to the day before I were to check in. So if my travel plans do have to change because of family stuff or, I don't know, global pandemics, I can just cancel everything out and I don't lose money. Now that is, I think, why some people are annoyed that pilgrims use Booking, because in the high season, it is so competitive to get to get lodging that it can, if you go in and you book, hey, I've got 5 bookings in Sarria, I'm going to wait till I get closer, talk to some folks and get the vibe and then choose the one I want. Yeah, it does tend to book a bunch of stuff up and it kind of messes things. So just be aware of that. So let's go out. Lastly, you'll see this is the Wise Pilgrim app. Now, there are a lot of apps out there. Wise Pilgrim, Camino Ways, I believe, Camino Ninja I've used before. It's a neat app. This is my favorite, and I'm going to show you a few reasons why. The biggest reason that I love this app is I have emailed back and forth with the developers. I've said, hey, it'd be great if we could have X. And they're like, okay, man, yeah, we'll do that. And, a few months later, they roll out an update, and it's awesome. So looking at the Wise Pilgrim app, these are about $5 for a lifetime. Maybe as low as like $3, but I want to say $5. You go into their menu, and you can see it has the Camino de Santiago. It's divided into 3 separate sections. The first section up to about Burgos, the middle section, the Meseta, from Burgos to Astorga-ish, and then Astorga all the way to Santiago. Gives you a good breakdown of each. If you come over to the menu, gives you lots of good stuff. One of the most important things is you can download the entire map offline. It'll reside on your phone. You can pop it open, and if you have your GPS turned on, and keep in mind, unless you open Google Maps or something else that uses data, typically the GPS isn't going to eat into your data a whole lot. So the offline map is really useful. Honestly, the Camino is so darn well marked that I rarely have had issues. But there's been a couple of times in 2022 they were doing a bunch of construction on little villages, so they were kind of routing us around different places. And the construction guys were doing their best to keep us going where we're supposed to go. But they're construction guys; they're doing what they can. So being able to pop open that offline map, it did help. The other thing I'll open now is the elevation profile. You can see on the we jumped all the way over to Santiago. Now, when you're hooked up to your GPS, it'll actually have a green line that descends down through to show you where you are in the elevation. But if you look, this gives you, and I'm going backwards. Tell you what, I'm going to scroll all the way to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. So there's Saint-Jean on your left. You can see Orasan about a quarter of the way in. You can see the Altos, and then Roncesvalles. And it gives you your meter measurement on the side, shows you at bottom, the kilometer on the bottom, shows you what you're in for. And this is valuable data when you go to plan your individual stages. And let's look at an example, and I'll show you a couple other cool things it does. So we're going to start, just for the heck of it, in Astorga. Now you see Astorga is highlighted in red. That's one of my stops. And I had marked it as a favorite. So it pops in red. So quickly looking, I know where I'm going to stop. And the little purple bar over, or lavender bar over on the right, if I hit that, it changes the kilometer reading up here in the upper left corner by Astorga to 0. Now, I know I like to keep between 20 and 25 kilometers per day is my preferred distance that I want to go. So coming down here, Rabanal is at 20 kilometers, so I have marked it as a favorite. Turns red. After that, I can hit boop, and it resets the kilometer and allows me to then scroll down and find out where I want to go. Now, you'll notice that El Acebo on here is marked at 16.6 kilometers as a favorite, but not Molina Seca. It seems like Molina Seca would be an obvious, 16.6, it's a little short. Molina Seca may be a better option. But when we're doing our planning, we come up and we look at the elevation profile. We scroll over. Sorry, I'm terrible at this. So we are looking at if we're going to start in Rabanal, which is right in the center of the screen, this is the alto that we have to deal with. And then there's El Acebo in the center of the screen and Molina Seca there. So between Rabanal and Molina Seca, we have this big up and a punishing down. At my age and my abilities, El Acebo is a great place to stop. I've done the other. In 2022, we ended up, because El Acebo was just plain closed for some reason. Spain. So I tend to break up those big descents, those big ascensions a little bit. So better choice for me is El Acebo, there in the middle, to Ponferrada, there in the middle. So your elevation profile accessed from within the app is a really great way to try to figure out what we're going to do. From there, again, I've got my next, Ponferrada, blah, 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 blah. So you can kind of see how this all works. Now, if you're curious, say we get to El Acebo. And we're going to stay at, where is it? Church de Arco Iris. So this is a really neat little place I've stayed at before. The listing shows you the price for the private rooms. their phone numbers, their location, open the location, and it shows you where it is in El Acebo from the app, so you don't have to switch over to Google Maps to be able to find it. So we back out of that, we back out of that. Now we decide we want to stay here. So to reserve, if you have WhatsApp on your phone, press and hold, WhatsApp helper comes up, number of pilgrims, you can scroll to your date. Let's say we're going to do April 12th, 2026. You can then tell them, I want a private room, any bed, bunk beds, whatever. I'm not going to do it now because this is a real business. Then you hit send message. It composes the message. It translates it accurately into Spanish, sends it off to them, and then you can do your correspondence through them. That way you're not trying to fumble the Google translation and everything else. It makes it so easy. It's one of the best things that Wise Pilgrim has added. So let's back out of that. The other cool thing is if we decide, okay, we're going to stay here at Trucha, you can come up here in the upper right, give it a favorite, come back. Come on. Now, much like our main screen, that albergue is highlighted in red, so it's just a little easier to find. Now, one of the things I have suggested to the developers is all these places that we have listed as favorites and all the distances in between, since it's clearly in the data code, allow us to download to Google Sheets or something like that, Excel, to be able to do a comprehensive schedule, even listing any albergues that we favorited. And they kind of went, that's hard. We'll think about it. So we'll see what happens. So I'm going to back out of this section. So we're back to the main area of Wise Pilgrim. There are, as I said, there are other apps. Those other apps are really good. This is just the one that, for me, the way I travel, has the most utility. It may not for you. That's awesome. But it's worth giving a look at. And that's really, for now, for long-term planning, that's about all I'm using. As we get closer, my airline apps and all of that. Oh, you know what? I'm going to add one because I forgot. The other one I'm going to add, and I'm just going to drag this over, is, come on, Trainline. So Trainline allows you to e-book tickets through the train system in pretty much all of Europe. So you can pop open Trainline, and because the schedules for most European train schedules, they're not put out until about 90 days. So, like, I'm going to be going Madrid to Lyon. So this is just a practice. I'm going to come out to the 29th, 6 o'clock in the morning, done. And I'm going to hit it time and place. It's going to pull up all of my options. Now I know my flight leaves lands right about 9:30, so I'm going to pick the stops direct. I'm going to go for the 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock, it shows me my standard, my first class option, cancellation options. If you book through this, you can see down here at the bottom, it's $58 one way. If you book through this, you may not have to go, and usually it's about 95% now. You don't have to go print a ticket. You just rock onto the train. It'll give you a QR code right here on your phone. When a conductor asks for your ticket, you just hold up your phone. He scans it with his reader. Bob's your uncle. You're on your way. This is a fantastic way to deal with the train systems. You can pre-book up to 90 days ahead of time. And the prices are really, really good. So, something to think about. Again, that is Trainline. And these guys, they're kind of pioneers in the transportation app. They actually took the French rail system, the Spanish rail system, and I think maybe the German rail system. They took them to court to force them to open their schedules and allow outside purchasing. So these guys revolutionized how we travel in Europe, and just love them for that. So that's about all of my little apps that I've got for got for this long range planning. Um, so I want to talk a little bit after this. Tell you what, I'm going to close down the screen capture and then I'll go back and punish you with having to look at me on a camera. Okay, so that was the tedious screen capture portion of the show. I hope it kind of gave you just a bit of an overview. The Wise Pilgrim apps are worth looking at. Like I said, they're like $5 or whatever right now. And get in and play with the functionality of them. They're really great. The other ones, you know, there's nothing in there that's really unusual for most travelers, except for maybe Trainline. And as I said in the screen capture, Trainline, they really revolutionize things, and they're good folks. And you can link your credit card to it, get all your info in there, so you can just, and it makes it very easy to buy tickets to the point where if you've got a down day in Lyon and you decide, hey, I want to go somewhere for the day, jump on Trainline. Get a train to somewhere that's an hour out of the way. Go spend some time goofing around, grab another ticket, come on back. You've spent a little bit of time off the Camino. It's worth it. We do that in France all the time. So, past that, let's talk about what's coming up. Because honestly, I was going to do something completely different today and I got distracted. So, from now until about the 1st of October, I'm looking at my tablet over here because I made a list. Now until the beginning of October, we're going to be talking about a little bit more on what I'm doing to get ready now. And then we're going to talk about life on the Camino. What's lodging like? Nutrition, hydration, health, safety, and meds, and getting a good night's sleep. All things that are a little bit impactful, but altogether are very impactful. If you watched my video on the issues I had for my first Camino, you know, not packing a fan along, so I got no sleep. My nutrition was off because I was so damn sick with fatigue. Those things add up. So the more you can be forewarned about those issues now, the better off you're going to be. After that, when we head into October, November, prior to Black Friday and the Christmas season, we're going to talk about gear. Everything from your shoes, your clothing, your rain gear, little tech things that help out, kind of even the order you want to get them in. And here's a spoiler. You buy your shoes first. Buy them tomorrow if you can. Get used to them. Make sure they're going to work for you. You buy your backpack last. Do not buy your backpack first. Most people, that's the first thing they think of is, I'm going backpack, I need to buy my backpack. Don't. Wait until the very last thing you buy, and we'll go over that why. We'll go over why then. I'm terrible at English. My two primary languages are English and broken English, obviously. So after we get past first of the year, that we're going to be into seriously training. I'm going to start doing some daily, 3 times a week, walking, hiking, that kind of stuff. So we'll talk about how things are going, what we're doing, but then we're going to drill down on fun stuff, flight hunting. Usually that 90-day prior is when your flights are going to be pretty affordable. So we're going to talk about hunting flights, the train schedule, a little bit more about travel safety. We're going to talk about travel banking and travel banking safety. A lot safer than it used to be. The only weird thing is it's such a cash economy in Spain that you have to really get used to carrying cash. I never have cash here. It's very weird. So just something that we'll go over. And it's kind of fun, different. After that, we're going to talk about, as we get into winter when there's a little less stuff to talk about into February, March. So we're going to talk about things like, even though we've already talked about nutrition and hydration, all this stuff, we're going to talk about Spanish food and Spanish restaurants. I'm a food guy. It's one of the reasons I love Spain so much. We're going to talk about how Spanish restaurants and Spanish restaurant and food culture is so different in so many ways that if you're not kind of prepared for it, it can be a little shocking and at times really annoying. But we'll get you through it. After that, we're going to talk about Spanish cultural drinks, and yeah, it's going to be a very alcohol-heavy episode because there's an old saying: "No vino, no camino. No wine, no camino." And there are some world-class things to enjoy there. So we're going to talk about those. We're going to make them. I'll be sampling them. It should be a train wreck by the end of that one. As a matter of fact, I went to our local wine store yesterday, got a bunch of Spanish wines and stuff, so that'll be fun. After that, we'll talk about just whatever comes up as we go. Much to my surprise, people are subscribing to this channel. I don't know why. I'm not even thrilled to be here most days. So we're coming up on, wow, we're in double digits. Pretty amazing. So as more questions, more stuff comes up, as more stuff rattles around my brain, I'll come up with some other stuff to do. So I'm going to cut this one a little bit shorter. Not that it's short, but you know. Oh, by the way, if you see over my shoulder, whenever I shoot these things from the cozy cottage here, see that guy? That's Mr. Mapache. He's my buddy. He travels with me on the Camino. I do post pictures for my friends and my family. I have a very small Instagram group of people. I don't let strangers follow me. That's not what it's for. It's easier for me to just post me and Mr. Mapache on Instagram once a day to let people know I haven't died in the mountains somewhere than trying to email and text a bunch of people. So anyway, that's my buddy. Emma made him for me. I love him. So anyway, that's it for this week. Next week, I think we're going to talk about a little more of the physical stuff that I'm doing to get ready. I hope you've started a little bit. And the best thing you can do between now and then is just once a week, get out and take a walk. Just 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. If you've never done anything athletic, let's get started now. So, that being said, I will see you next week. Bye.